So with all of these videos, I've yet to do a processing video. So I'm going to play around with something. I just want to see what just argon with some mercury looks like. I know all of y'all have seen it. Well, really not the ones that are watching my videos, but all of my neon buddies that I've made have already seen what this looks like. So I'm about to hook my leads up to this tube. I've got it down to 6 microns, about as good as I can get on this particular manifold. Thanks to Mark at SVP Neon, I was able to see what my system could do. While it's not the best gauge, I was also able to calibrate this one to a known good one. So I know from a lot of testing that I did while I had the known good one, from about 50 microns below, I've got this thing almost dead accurate. Above 50 microns, it starts getting a little, plus or minus, 10, 20. Then you get into the 100 and 200 micron area, it's about 100 off. But 50 below, it is almost at 5 microns, it's about, I would say, a half a micron off one way or the other. So it's super close. We're down to 5 now. So I've got just a clear tube. For those of you that don't know, all the neon guys know, you want to process tubes if you can get the vacuum down to 5 microns or lower. Preferably lower the better, right? I learned using the known good vacuum gauge that with my old pump, with my Synco Megavac, I was only pulling down to 25 microns. So any glass that I've built since then, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but those electrodes are having to clear out any of the impurities in that gas. It's being absorbed into that processed electrode. Will it shorten the life? Yeah, probably. Will it still burn for like 20 years? Probably. Anyway, but that would explain why some of my reds weren't going red instantly and some of my stuff was getting a little warm as it would burn in. Most likely because I had some impurities. So before I hook my leads up, you check a couple of things, right? One of those being that I don't have any lights on over here, and you don't see them. But I'm gonna put those in just to the right side of the frame over here, right there. Those are going to tell me if my system is active or not, and when I'm ready to start processing. I know it's out of frame, but I want you guys to see this because in none of my videos have I ever processed a tube yet. So, like I said, I always make sure that everything is completely off when I start hooking up leads. Because, my overall goal here is to not screw up and electrocute myself. I'm using the piece of paper method because I don't have a thermometer yet to get the temperature right on the glass. So as that paper burns at a certain point, that's when the glass is hot enough, it's processed. We're down to 5 microns still. We should be getting really close to 4. Once we get to 4 microns, what I'm going to do is I'm going to close everything up, and then I'm going to let a little bit of air in so that I can start processing the tube. Now, in the process of this, what we're going to do is we're going to go by the instructions on Mark's electrodes. This is 15 millimeter glass. So we're going to go through his instructions here. We're going to allow 3 to 4 millimeters of mercury of air back in. We're down to 4 microns now. So I pretty much evacuated the tube completely. I haven't processed, haven't gotten it hot. We're going to close that stopcock valve, whatever, for any of you guys that don't know. And then this is the millimeters right here. Millimeters of mercury. We're going to bring this guy up. Sorry, I got the sniffles. I ended up getting another cold. Instead of the flu this time, it was a sinus infection. So we're going to go up to, I like to start it a little low. We're going to go and bring 3 millimeters of air in. And the reason I like to start it low is I've learned it, and I've learned because I've done a lot of reading. As I heat the glass up and it starts getting those impurities and the inside of that glass super hot and all the impurities worked out, when it starts releasing those impurities out of the glass, it increases pressure. And of course, heat rises pressure, whatever. So if I start low, it's going to work its way up to 4 millimeters, right? So that's where we're going. Now, when I power this up, you'll see I've got a red light. 1 red light means I have power to the system. 2 red lights means I'm actually actively bombarding. My choke is all the way in. My amp meter is right here. We're going to look at it. We're going to hit it real quick. Some people say that's bad. That's the way I do it, just to make sure I'm not getting a flashback. And I did not get a flashback. So we're going to hit it and hold it for a minute. Long enough because I started building pressure back up. Back down to 3. Hit it again. And that is just a hair over 200 milliamp, which is where it should be. So I'm going to heat the glass to about 100 degrees Celsius. So 100 degrees Celsius isn't too bad. I'm at about 80 right now, so we're going to go a little more. So we're probably at 100 there. Yep, 105. I need a thermometer because that's a horrible way of doing it. Now we're going to turn the bombarder off and we're going to evacuate again. All the way. It says for 30 seconds. I want to go for a little while longer. So that was a preheat step. You can omit that part, being super low, just preheating the glass, getting it warm. But I find that for a rookie like me, that's probably the best thing to do, is to go ahead and do it. We're going to put 2 millimeters of pressure in, and we're going to be at 200 milliamps still, and we're going to get the glass a little hotter this time. We're going to go to about 150. So 2 millimeters allows me to run it a little longer. And that glass should start, it's got a pink glow to it now. It should start going white here shortly. There it is, starting to change colors right now. But I think we're at 150 by now. 160. So now what does it say to do? Increase the current to 300. So I'm going to put my little block in here, which is going to give me 300 or so. And we're going to hit 300 until we're at a little hotter. Two millimeter, 300 milliamp for 150. A little hotter than that. Now we're going to go a little hotter, but I'm missing my block. There it is. So now we're going to go to 400 milliamp at 2 millimeter pressure. Ooh, that was way hotter than 400. And that's not quite. So where is my 400 on my slide? Right about there. A little high still, but be all right on 15 mil, I think. So we're at 200. So now okay. Now we're going to go to full 800 here. That is. It's actually 700. We got it hot, got the electrodes hot, they're cherry red, and now we're evacuating the tube. Yeah, so we're completely evacuating the tube now. The electrodes got cherry red and stayed that way for just a little bit, which is exactly what we were looking for. The camera isn't great. I probably should have done this with some lighting off to make it look a little better. But we're coming down. Now what we're aiming for is we want the tube to get down to very low pressure. We're down at 11 microns now, which is great for this little bit of a time. By the time we get all the air evacuated, the temperature should be good to touch. We should be able to touch it. Right now, that's 215 degrees Celsius. That glass is still 420-ish degrees. I'm not touching it. We're evacuating it still. We're down to 8 microns. So there's a butterfly flying around. By the time we get cool enough to the touch so that we can start filling it back in, the goal is to evacuate all of that atmosphere and that air out while the glass is still hot. We're trying to get any of those impurities out of that glass. I don't want anything left in there. The cleaner I can make the inside of the glass, the better quality that thing's going to be. Now, of course, when I post this on these neon forums, you guys are going to be like, actually you can do this, you said it wrong here, you said it wrong there. I know, I'm still learning, but these videos are also for the people that follow me and my friends. I'm not trying to put out bad information. I'm putting out what I know right now. And Mark Snyder has been a huge help. Actually, all of y'all have been a help. This is leaded glass, so it will cool down a little faster. We're at 120 degrees there, Celsius, which is 246 Fahrenheit, which is still hotter than I want to touch it. But you remember I put this piece of paper on here, right? So that helped me tell if my glass was hot enough. Okay, this is the burn. If I had a thermometer, that probably would be more accurate to tell me if I had the right temperatures on my glass. But from the ones that I've done so far, that's a decent burn. Some of y'all are going to say not hot enough. Some of you are going to say too hot. Too hot is if it deforms it and it breaks the glass, right? So anything below that's still good, right? But hot enough to burn the junk out. We're down to 5 microns now, which is where we want to be, 5 or below. Our glass is 89 degrees Celsius, 194 Fahrenheit. Still too hot to put gas in. Our electrodes, that one is 179 degrees, which is 81 Celsius. This guy is 81 Celsius. The glass is 77, so it's all cooling kind of close. But of course, 170 degrees Fahrenheit, still too hot to touch. Really, I think about 120 is, I think, where I'd like to start filling the unit up. 7 degrees, it says right here, tube is cooled to 70 degrees Celsius that you can start filling it. I'm at 67, which is 153 degrees. I don't know. I'm sure I can just let it sit here for a little bit. I'm at 4 microns. Well, nope, 5 microns now. So we're done evacuating. I did get to 4 microns. It just flickered to 4. 15 millimeter glass. I need my cheat sheet. 15 millimeter glass. If I was doing a standard tube fill, I would put 9 millimeters of gas in. Not much. We're overfilled. So, you know what? This isn't the video I want to play around and test with, right? So let me just do this right. So we're going to call that a flush. So what I'm doing now is I'm evacuating the tube back out of all that argon I just put in there. So I'm a little torn. I want to do that little plasma look, you know, where it looks like lightning in there. I don't think I can do that with just argon. I think I'm going to need krypton or xenon or something like that in there. So I was going to play, but I don't have any other gas. My manifold's only set up for 2 gases. So let me just do this the correct way and stop goofing around, right? So we just flushed it. And now let's put some gas back in it. Okay, there we got 9 millimeters in there. So when I hit this, I got super low amount of amperage. That's going to be argon. That pressure sure creeped up when I had that in there. Uh, so that's it. Now we're going to tip it off. We don't have the bombarder on anymore, so I'm going to take the leads off so that there are no leads on this guy while I'm playing around with it. I'm going to get the tipping torch right here. We're going to tip it off on this side of the mercury ball so that I can pour the mercury in there. Okay, so what I did there was tipped off on the left side of my mercury ball. So there's a little ball there, a little bubble that's got a drop of mercury in it. And it's still here on this tube. Now the reason I did that is now I pick this tube up and I move this mercury ball. You're going to see the mercury is still in there. Now, God, that weld looks so bad on camera. It really wasn't that pretty. Don't look at it. Now we're going to bring this guy over. Uh-oh. Houston, we have a problem. There we go. Now it's in there. Somewhere. Where did it go? There it is. It's all in there on that side of the electrode now. Huh. All right. So that's not going to let that mercury go down in there. Normally, I let it flow all the way through here so that it gasses everything up, but it's staying on one side. Not a big deal. Once it gets hot, it'll vaporize and do what it needs to do. So now, I'm going to grab the tipping torch one more time, and I'm going to tip off at the electrode to get rid of all this extra stuff here. Okay. Now we're tipped off. So now, God, that's a really bad job on that tip. Don't tell anybody. Argon filled tube. Now we're going to go see what it looks like, right? I am not hooking up a magnetic transformer because I don't have one for this project. I mean, I do, but I'm also trying to make it so you guys can see what's happening. So I just have a regular old sine transformer here where I'm plug it in and see what it looks like. Nothing happened. Probably because it was off. Nothing happened. So there it is. It's glowing. Let me turn some lights off so we can see it do this here. Kind of real-time burn-in. It is dark, but it'll brighten up as that mercury starts to vaporize. Excuse me. Now what's really cool is you can actually kind of see the mercury is super bright over on this side over here. All right, guys, that's about it. About as bright as it's going to get. So with it being an ultraviolet style light, the phosphorus inside the tubes, like this tube right here, The phosphorus that's inside, that coating inside, is what actually makes that thing glow uh, fairly bright. It is getting brighter a little bit, but it's not as bright as you would think neon to be. I'm gonna let it run for a little while longer. I've got an electrode over there that's flickering because it's still got some mercury over there that's trapped behind the electrode. But I have some mercury balls all the way through here now that have gone all the way to the other side, so they're starting to glow. The whole tube is brighter than when I first did it, but it's not like as bright as a typical neon sign by any means. But you guys got to see me process a tube. Argon filled tube. No color. That's what color argon is. So that's in any neon glass that's not red. Any of them that have white coating, when they're turned off, they're white or yellow or anything other than clear, really. I mean, to some point, like green glass, if you put red gas in it, it's going to give you orange. Blue gas or blue glass with red gas, which would be neon, is going to give you pink. But other than those special items, right? Any coated glass is going to have that in it, and that's what it looks like underneath that coat. Without the coating, it looks like that. Cool stuff. Science is fun. Y'all have a good one.